आवाज तो नहीं आ रहा है.
Good afternoon, student. Today we will study about the origin and evolution of angiosperms. What are the origin of angiosperm? What are the angiosperms? What is the age of angiosperm? Molecular dating. What is the place of their origin? And angiosperm monophyletic or polyphyletic? What are their possible ancestors? Like today we will just go to the introduction, like what are these angiosperms and all. Angiosperms are the most dominant group of plants with at least 2,500, 3,300 species according to Thorney, a number much greater than all the other groups of plant combined together. Not only number, angiosperm are also found in far greater range of habitats than any other group of land plant. The phylogeny of angiosperm, however, has been a much debated subject. Largely because of the very poor records of the earliest angiosperm. The earliest angiosperm probably lived in the habitat that were not best suited for fossilization. Like before we try to evaluate what is the phylogeny, it would be useful to understand of the major terms and concept covering this phylogeny in general and with respect to the angiosperm in particular. Like what is the origin of angiosperm? Like origin evolution of angiosperm has been introduced to all the botanists from well over the centuries. They considered it as an abominable mystery, like in the present pace of like Sherlock Holmes research. It may be more mysterious within the next 2 decades for any other major group. With the exception of conifers and the mosses, lichens, tundra, angiosperm dominates all the terrestrial vegetation zones. According to the majority of the primary production on land and exhibit bewildering morphological diversities, unfortunately, much less is known about the origin and evolution of the angiosperm. That are resulting in the number of different view regarding to the ancestry, earliest forms, what are the cause of evolutions, the origin of angiosperm may be discussed. Like what are angiosperms? Angiosperm from a distinct group of seeded plants sharing a unique combination of characters. These are the important characters that separate it from the other group plants. Like they have a closed and carpels enclosed in the ovules, pollen grains germinating on the stigma, steve tubes with companion cells, a double fertilization result in a triploid angiosperm, and a highly reduced male and female gametophyte. The angiosperm have also vessels. The polar grains of angiosperms are also unique in having non-laminate enzyme and ectoenzyme differentiate into the foot layer of uh, columnar layers and tectums. The tectum absent like in Ambroids family also. The angiosperm flower typically is hermaphrodite structure with carpel surrounded by stamens and the later by petals and sepals. Since insect pollution is prevalent in angiosperm, the vessel elements in angiosperm typically possess scalariform perforation. There may be individual exception to most of these character. Vessels are absent in some angiosperm, like in the family of Vinteraceae, with some gymnosperm having vessels, that is gentianels. The flowers are unisexual without perianth in several eminentiferae, which also exhibit anemophile. In spite of these and other exceptions, this combination of characters is unique to angiosperm and are not found in any other groups of the seeded plants. What will the age of angiosperm? Like the time of origin of angiosperm matters considerable debate from many years, and the earliest documented angiosperm fossils that will angiosperm fossil that was considered to be from the genus Claviptopollinitis that was described by Cooper and his co-workers from Apentian strata Birmingham, uh, that is early Cretaceous period, that was found in England about 132 to 112 million years ago, and a monosulcate pollen distinct sculpture that would resemble of the pollen exant Ascarina. Other workers also recorded some of the in-aperture pollen grains from Valangian that were found, or the oldest record of angiosperm fossils also found in the late Hatterevian of Israel. That was 132 million years ago. Like others were also, other fossils were also found from Upper Cretaceous era, earlier Cretaceous area, 100 million years ago. That includes herbaceous, magnolites, magnolials, laurels, Ventroids, Liliopsidas were also represented in late Cretaceous. At least 50% of the species in the fossil flora were angiosperm. By the end of Cretaceous, many extant angiosperm families have appeared. This subsequent increase exponentially and constitute the most dominant land flora containing up to the present. The trail in reverse direction is incomplete and confusing because many of the claims of the angiosperm record before Cretaceous era made were largely rejected. And Edman in 1948 described Eucomadites as a tricolpate dicotyledon pollen grain from Jurassic era. However, the bilateral symmetry instead of radial symmetry of angiosperm granular exime with gymnospermous laminated endozyme. These pollen grains were also discovered in the micropyle of seeds of female cones of uncertain but clearly gymnosperm affinity. Several others fossils of pollen grain from Jurassic age contribute to nymphaceae ultimately turned out to be the gymnosperms. Likewise, some other fossils were found in the Upper Cretaceous era, like 124 million years ago, from China. There were clearly defined spirally arranged conduplicate carpels enclosing ovals, a feature not reported in earlier angiosperm. The fruit is a follicle. This is considered to be the most old record of angiosperm flower. Several vegetation structures from Triassic were also attributed to the angiosperm. Like clearly, they were most of the record from Upper Triassic era and so on. Some of the workers also tried molecular dating. There have been a number of attempts to estimate the time of divergence of angiosperm by applying a molecular clock to the nucleotide sequence data. The result mostly point to much of the earlier origin of angiosperm. However, in contradictory, the first step were made by like Martin and his workers using angiosperm sequence from GAPC, the nuclear gene encoding GADPH, cystosolic glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, normally known as GADPH. The observed number of non-synonymous substitution between each pair of species were compared to estimate rates of with pairs of species which were compared to estimate the rate of substitution per site per year, that is referred by Ka, interfered with the known divergence time. The result implied separation of monocots and dicots at 319 plus 35 million years ago, and dicot radiations at 376 plus 33 million years ago. Cereals were 103 plus 22 million years ago. The result were questioned by other workers since the study was used with a single gene attempt to date the monocot split using a large number of genes in chloroplast genome and using a three-tiered approach. They suggest late Triassic as the likely estimate monocot dicot split. Martin and his co-workers data to support Carboniferous origin, that is more than 300 million years ago of angiosperm. They use both RBCL and GAPC sequences for their studies. Thus, the resolution of angiosperm phylogeny may have to wait a more complete molecular data in a proper appraisal. What is the place of origin of angiosperm? It was early believed that angiosperm originated from the Arctic Circle with subsequent southward migration. Some suggested that the flowering plants evolved in the mild uplands at low latitude. Some suggested that the general area of Southeast Asia adjacent to Malaysia as the site where angiosperm evolved when Gondwana and Laurasia were undergoing initial fragmentations, and others consider the origin occurred in the export habitat in areas of seasonal drought. Who believed to the in the neoteneous origin of angiosperm suggested that angiosperm arose with under environment stress, probably as a result of adaptation to moderate seasonal droughts on the Rocky Mountain slopes in the area with monsoon climates. Some of them earlier authors believe that the earliest angiosperm were probably woody, small-leaved, occurring in the Rift Valley system adjoining Africa and South America. Some of these angiosperm adapted to coastal environment and became widespread following changes during the sea level during the earlier Cretaceous period. Although different authors were agreeing with the role of environmental stress, many authors in the recent years have suggested that angiosperm live along streams and lake margins. That lowland theory was proposed. Later, they appeared in more stable backswamps and channel sites, and lastly on the river terraces. Some of them suggested that ancestral angiosperms were perennial rhizomatous herbs, and they evolved alongside rivers and streams of the site of relatively high disturbance with moderate amount of elevation. These sites would be characterized by highly nutrition levels and frequent loss of plant cover due to the periodic disturbance of the region. Uh, some consider what are angiosperm, like they are monophyletic or polyphyletic. The author Engler considered angiosperm to be the polyphyletic. Monocotyledons and dicotyledons have evolved separately. Considering considerable density of angiosperm in this earlier Cretaceous and extant angiosperm led to several authors, including misuse, uh, to develop models for the polyphyletic origin of angiosperm. This view is largely supported by considerable diversity in early angiosperm fossils. Most recently, some of the authors they believe that monophyletic origin of the angiosperms uh, have evolved from primitive dicotyledons. This view is supported by unique combinations of characters such as closed carpels, sieve tubes, companion cells, four microsporangia, triploid endosperm, eight nucleated ambrosac, monophyletic as the origin. As a genus in form of genus and the family in the form of family. The principle, according to him, is that the monophyletic taxon of any rank may be derived solely from another taxon of the same rank, Glossopteridae and Angiospermidae belong to the same rank, same subclass. Like both taxa were consist of minor linkage that may be linked to a rope with many strands, a situation called as pachyphyletic. These explanation, however, confirm to the concept of minimum monophyly and does not satisfy the rule of strict monophyly, which is now accepted to be criteria for the monophyly. What are the possible ancestors? Ancestors is one of the most controversial and vigorously debated topic. In the absence of the direct fossil records, almost all groups of fossils and living gymnosperms have been considered as the possible ancestors by the authority or the other. Like some authors even suggest the isolated origin of molecular learn because the plant have a, superficial resemblance with the onion, albeit with no trace of seed habit. The various theories were revolve around the basic theories, the evidential theory, and the pseudo-evidential theory. Evidential theory and the pseudo-evidential theory of angiosperm that we know. Some of the other theories projecting herbaceous ancestry for origin of angiosperm have also been recently received attention, making the questions of ancestry origin rather more ambiguous. Like some of the theories proposed were eventual theory, psychodial theory was also proposed, pseudo-anthemium theory, and again the theories, different theories were proposed like anthocom theory, gynophile theory, herbaceous origin hypothesis was also proposed. Transition combinational theory was also proposed. As you say, these were some of the theories were proposed. We will stop here and we'll proceed to the next topic in the next lecture.